Hi, this is Ishmael. Every day I use my phone to collect voicemails about the books people love, but today I'll use it to call a person or an organization. They'll answer the 3 most interesting questions in the world, but first they'll issue an all-call challenge. I hope they answer my call, and I hope you answer theirs.
Hello?
Is Joe there, please?
This is Joe.
Hey, Joe, it's Ishmael from Call Me Ishmael. How's it going?
Hey, Ishmael. It's going really well. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for being the first participant. You have an incredible and an enormous community of smart people on your channel. It's okay to be smart. You also have the ear of the brilliant readers who tune in to Call Me Ishmael. What would you like to challenge viewers and listeners to call in about?
All right. So to all of my fellow book lovers out there, here is my challenge. I want you to call about a book that completely changed the way that you look at the natural world.
Call about a book that changed the way you look at the natural world. We'll unpack that in a moment. You're a scientist. You run what, in my opinion, is one of the most well-named and well-executed initiatives on the web. Tell us about yourself and your work.
Yeah, I'm a PhD biologist and sort of a generally curious human. Now I create educational YouTube videos for my channel called It's Okay to Be Smart. The name is kind of a reflection of how I look at science and my quest to find it in everyday life, which could be in things like art or pop culture or in history or interesting stories about people. To me, that adds this extra level of meaning to the science, and we end up kind of learning about something new, but we learn it out of love and enjoyment instead of being afraid that someone's going to ask us about it on a test.
Such an important concept. There's an interesting phrase in your challenge, the natural world. How openly should we interpret that part of the prompt?
It could be nonfiction, it could be fiction, it could be pictures, it could be a particular character. I think what's most meaningful to me in there is kind of the living nature. I'm a biologist. I mean, what is the universe without life to observe it, right? And the great deal of the natural world today around us on Earth, it's kind of in danger, but instead of being pessimistic and pointing out everything that we might be losing, I think this could be a really interesting way for people to celebrate what we have and kind of take another look at how we look at the world around us. I hope that people use a really broad definition of this, and I really hope people kind of challenge themselves. Maybe a certain rare white whale.
So the idea is to call and answer this challenge with a voicemail. Maybe it's a story about a book you read while hiking the Appalachian Trail. Maybe you call in a confession about how badly you still want to be Dickon or Mary Lennox in The Secret Garden. It's open to interpretation, and you can call whenever you like. Here are 3 questions that aren't on any test, but that can teach you so much about a person. What book are you reading right now, Joe?
Right now, I'm reading Casper Henderson's The Book of Barely Imagined Beings, which is a 21st century bestiary. And bestiaries were these ancient texts that were full of descriptions of mostly mythical beasts, like the Kraken. But they were precursors to what we would call natural history books. These ancient ones, though, in addition to sort of describing them and drawing them and chronicling, they would attach moral lessons and philosophy in there, too. So it was sort of like these hybrid books. So Henderson's book is a play on that, but instead of mythical creatures, Casper Henderson has stories of real animals that are so amazing that they kind of could be mythical, like the axolotl is in there, the honey badger, and then there's also some science and philosophy alongside them.
Inspired by the Kraken, featuring the honey badger, I must read this book.
You can't go wrong.
All right, 2 more quick but crucial questions, and then we'll wrap up. What book do you recommend more often than any other, and why?
The book that got me into reading, like, seriously later in life when people weren't assigning it to me, so widely recommended, but Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five is just an amazing book to me in the way that he writes with this sci-fi and common man influence. Also, anything by Mark Twain. I've always said that we should assign less Charles Dickens in school and more Mark Twain. People would be much better off.
Well, I know that there is at least one caller on Call Me Ishmael who would disagree, who did a brilliant call about Charles Dickens. And there are probably several who agree. Some of the people who have called are probably listening to this right now. Do you have any favorite Call Me Ishmael entries?
One recently that just came out of Pajama Time, Sandra Boynton, a kid's book, because in that call, he said how important it was for kids' books to be so good because kids read them so many times. And it was like, yes, that was a great one.
Yeah, that was hilarious and definitely one of the more quirky calls received. So, Joe, I want to personally thank you for being the first person to participate in the All Call Challenge. This is something we hope to do regularly. We'll see how it goes. Regardless, you're a pioneer, and I think we all already have some good ideas about what to read next, thanks to you. I encourage you all to check out It's Okay to Be Smart. And once again, his challenge is call about a book that changed the way you look at the natural world. And Joe, I think I have a good way to end this call, and it's the first sentence of the book you recommend most, and it's all this happened, more or less. Kurt Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Ishmael.